In some big news that came in a short while back, the director of United States Secret Service, Kimberley Cheatle, has resigned from her position 10 days after the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. It comes amid intense scrutiny and criticism that the Secret Service has been facing regarding its ability to fulfill its core mission of protecting current and former presidents. In her resignation email, Kimberly said, and I quote, "I take full responsibility for the security lapse. In light of the recent events, it is with a heavy heart that I have made the difficult decision to step down as your director," unquote. The move also comes after a viral video of a US Congresswoman grilling Kimberly, calling her a liar and accusing her of dodging questions that Americans need answers to. All right, let's try and understand what really happened in the United States now with the Secret Service director resigning. On the broadcast, I'm joined by Rohit Sharma. He's a journalist based in Washington, D.C. Rohit, good evening. Namaskar. Welcome to Mirror Now. This is a big news that has come in from the United States, but clearly the writing was on the wall, wasn't it, after the assassination bid and how Secret Service was being criticized?
Absolutely, I think it was bound to happen. We saw what happened yesterday in those visuals that you're showing. That's the visuals from the House Oversight Committee. It is a bipartisan committee. She was asked about failure of the secret agencies. I mean, in a very telling moment, I think Congressman Ro Khanna asked her, if she remembered what happened when there was an assassination attempt on Reagan, and what did the Secret Service president do at that point in time? And she did not recollect, but they had to resign. So I think it was a pending move as far as it was concerned. She's been with the service for 27 years. But there was no questions about how long she would stay. People wanted her gone immediately after the assassination attempt. The fact that she stayed longer than that, raised eyebrows. And then after yesterday's hearing, it was just going to happen. And I'm not surprised at all that this happened this morning.
But can I also understand from you, Rohit, just the fact that she has resigned, the onus also lies on those who were present there, the fact that there was not enough security arrangement there when Donald Trump's assassination bid happened. There are a lot more people who might have been involved in the lapses that took place that day.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the inquiry that's going on, right? There's a House inquiry that's been set up. President Biden has set up his own inquiry into this. So we'll probably understand what happened, what shortcomings they had on that given day, what could have done to avert such an event. I mean, in all, I think, the buck stops definitely with her. There have been reports about people asking for beefed up security at Trump's rallies, and that wasn't met. Reportedly, that wasn't met. So we obviously have all these concerns. But I think at the end of the day, Secret Service and their budget has also been questioned. Some people are also questioning if the Secret Service have enough agents. Do they have enough budget to secure all VVIPs in the U.S.? And that also needs to be thoroughly looked at. Her resignation sort of solidifies the fact that it was a massive failure. But apart from that, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done by the current administration and the incoming administration to ensure that such incident can never take place again.
And also, I think, Rohit, this would obviously go in favor of the Republicans. The fact that the assassination bid has completely overturned the Democrats versus Republicans battle to the White House this year. And now with the Secret Service director resigning, it's only going to solidify the Republican position and strengthen their stance now in the presidential race.
Well, look, yes, I think the short answer is yes, but usually these committee hearings are very partisan. I mean, you get somebody from an administration, and you see if there's a Republican administration, you would see Democrats grilling the person, and if it's vice versa, you would see a Democrat doing the same thing. But I think what we saw yesterday, when she was asked these questions in public, we saw the same line of questioning from both the parties. So I think there's some sense of at least sanity prevailing in the House at last. I mean, at this moment, that this is not a partisan issue. But from a voter level, I think if you ask about people and sympathy, and we've talked about this a lot of times, I think that Trump is definitely seen as somebody, who suffered this attack because of lapse in security. And who's in charge? Well, it is a Democratic administration. So yes, people will have that, and I think that sentiment will resonate for some time. But at the end of the day, I think everybody is shocked. I mean, we were very shocked what happened on January 6th. This is bigger than that. So obviously, there needs to be a very detailed investigation onto how to at least prevent these attacks from happening and making America look such a and I don't want to use the word, but such a third world country in some of these instances.
Hey, you can't say that. At least when we're talking here in India, Rohit, that it's America is looking like a third world country. But on the other side, Rohit, I also want to talk about the grilling that took place, and how she was grilled so ruthlessly. She was called a liar. She was called. I can't even use those words on air. The kind of grilling that you usually don't see.
Absolutely not. I mean, and that tells you how toxic the environment in America has been, how polarized we've all have been in the US, right? I mean, 20 years ago, regardless of who was the president, you would actually have compromise on the Capitol Hill. You'll get bills passed. I mean, look, since the election of Barack Obama, we've shifted in a different direction. The country's gotten more polarized. We're seeing the use of words that you would not really associate with what was being said on the floor of the Senate, on the House. I mean, these are the things that people are taking notice, and I think it is because of the political temperature, that's risen in the past decade or so. So, I mean, everybody needs to tone it down. I mean, even Trump said it that the political temperature needs to go down. But at the end of the day, the rhetoric has definitely fallen to a place where I think it does not really truly reflect the offices these individuals have been elected to, but the sentiments of the people that these people represent, and which is very, very, very polarized and very toxic.
Yeah. But, talking about sentiments, Rohit, yes, these words were objectionable, but they also cater to the kind of feeling perhaps Americans might be going through at this point, that there was so much anger against the Secret Service for having those lapses, for having those loopholes on that day, that perhaps this kind of ruthless grilling is what would cater to the sentiments of the American citizens right now.
Absolutely, and I think everybody wanted to do that. Look, Shreya, these hearings are very, very common over here, and they're also, a chance for these elected representatives to get their 5 minutes of fame, and we've seen that. Nobody knew MTG, before she started using these hearings to make a name for herself, right? I mean, so definitely, there's a reason for these politicians to take a certain tone, to ask certain questions, so that they can obviously talk to their constituents through this and show that they believe in this. But if you talk to any American on the street right now, Shreya, I think everybody believes that the Secret Service let them down. Everybody believed that the Secret Service could have averted this attack. And I think everybody, all the politicians from both the sides, wanted to make sure that their constituents know that at least on this incident, they all stand together in asking for her to resign. And she has. Now, what happens, 3 months from now, 4 months from now, we do not know. But it's very important for President Joe Biden to select and nominate the next person for U.S. Secret Service. This position cannot be vacant for too long. We have DNC coming up in 2 weeks' time. So we'll have to wait and watch who he recruits to be the next agency chief, and also make sure that the inquiry is done in a very nonpartisan way.
Sure. And also, of course, he's now said that he's going to be addressing the nation tomorrow. Let's see what he says in that. But we'll leave it there. Rohit Sharma, thank you very much for joining us on Mirror Now and sharing your perspective on this big news that came in from United States, the Director of Secret Service resigning.